Yes, sir. Debbie, Debbie, yeah. Nasu Debbie, Peppa da bang. Debbie, yeah. Debbie, yeah. Nasu Debbie, Peppa da bang. Ghana for there are some so I say when see they be my tem, but some things need to be said in 10 can you let it out of the basket, contain. Let's start with religion and these big ass churches. Pastors more paid than teachers and nurses. How the preachers they afford these big benches and nobody questions it from the pews and the benches. Hey, education get a poor rise at higher price, less quality teachers.
Good evening. Welcome to the Think Tank Show. And then you're about to discuss a few things that that is happening in Ghana right now. And then I've got one of my favorite commentators. Beba Show. This is his first time on the show. Internet, first of all, you're about to discuss it. About discuss OSP. We're going to discuss what the OSP declared this week about Ms. Oforiatta being wanted. We're going to discuss that, and then
more strikes. Still not the land. Trip all night. These views might be leftist, but it's alright. Election time, politics by these novices. They empty their wallets and give us empty promises. How can I trust you when you say what you don't do? I vote for you, you work for me, that's the cold truth. Judgment Dex, G that reports.
We are also going to discuss the so-called ghost names in the national, what do you call it? The national service, the national service payment system. We're going to discuss that also. There's so many scandals nowadays, like you can't even. I mean, the topic we wanted to discuss last week, the topics I prepared to discuss this week, I did it last week, and by the morning of Monday, everything has to change because there are new things rolling in, you know.
I will get into this thing. Debbie, yeah. Nasu Debbie, Peppa da bang. Debbie,
Oral phase one has already come to an end, and the oral team has presented the cases that they find viable to the AG. The AG is going to take over from there and move on, with it. See which departments has to handle which case.
Nasu Debbie, Peppa da bang. One day you go be.
Now cases in the crowd, no. I mean, there's a debate going on. Is it worth going after them? We hear cases in the crowd, and here we're going to discuss all that.
But when one day go come, one day you go be. But when one day go come, they say the only time parliamentarians they agree is when they talk about raising their own.
Okay, look as if AJ is in the headlines a lot. AG also has filed nolle prosequi for almost all the almost all the big cases that the former government had in the courts. And he came out to explain why he did that. And so you're baby home
salaries. The only time Koti go get bribe from me is February 20 and never. With the boy. She has had traffic problems. So yeah. So I know they bought what they had to build.
And also we're going to discuss any other topics that my panel want to talk about. Some of the things that and no one does, so I'm not gonna remember all of them. Whatever they'll bring up, we can talk about it.
The more there, congestion is vexing, so the horns blare. La fire is rampant, all of we is led. To each his own, me I'm not a.
Without wasting much time, I am going to invite or Fagili on here so that we can start discussing the cases. Gilly, you better introduce you on Kaka now. I think this is the first time you're coming on the show.
Yes, I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
I believe so. Yeah, just one moment. Let me check on something. I don't want
All
to
right.
check this guys. Just one.
So I think we missed the show last 2 Thursdays because I was away with family for the past 2 weeks. I wasn't on the show, but this is me coming back after 2 weeks. If you're watching, you can, start sharing it for people to know that I'm back on the show, and then we can start discussing these things. If you have anything to ask, if you want to say something, you can go in the comment and let us know about it. Shout out to Santua Brass. Hello. Shout out to Phineas. Phineas, you have to start coming on the show yourself. So what's in me break so that we can do the discussions. Let me see which one to start with. First of all, let me play this
I don't know why it's so
this
slow.
quickly so that
The customs will send.
so that we can start talking about this one.
A high-profile person a fugitive from justice. This person is wanted by the OSP to answer charges in respect of several cases, including the following: 1. Contractual arrangements between Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited and the Ghana Revenue Authority for the state downstream petroleum sector, upstream petroleum production, and minerals and metals resources value chain. 2. Termination of a distribution, loss reduction, and associated network improvement project contract between the Electricity Company of Ghana Limited and Beijing Xiaocheng Technology BXC. 3. Procurement of contractors and materials and activities and payments in respect of the National Cathedral project. 4. Activities and payments in respect of a contract awarded by the Ministry of Health, initially commenced by the Ministry for Special Development Initiatives to Service Ghana Auto Group Limited, purchases and after-sales service and maintenance of 307 Mercedes-Benz Sprinter 305 CDI ambulances for the National Ambulance Service. And 5. Payments out of and utilization of the tax refund account of Ghana Revenue Authority. Ladies and gentlemen of the media, the fugitive's name is Kenneth Nanaya Ofori-Atta. Mr. Ofori-Atta is 66 years old. He was the Minister of Finance of the Republic between 2017 and 2024. Mr. Ofori-Atta left the jurisdiction on or around 2 January 2025. On 24 January 2025, the OSP communicated to Mr. Ofori-Atta that the OSP considered him a suspect in respect of 4 of the cases described above. Mr. Ofori-Atta was directed to attend in person the OSP on Monday, 10 February 2025 at 10 GMT for interview. By communication dated 31 January 2025, Mr. Ofori-Atta instructed his lawyers to inform the OSP that he was out of the jurisdiction indefinitely on medical grounds, and that the firm will notify the OSP of his arrival in the country in aid of rescheduling his personal attendance at the OSP. Further, the firm offered its willingness to provide the OSP with any information the OSP may require to aid in the investigation until his arrival in the country. Then on 5 February 2025, the OSP responded to Mr. Ofori-Atta, copied to his lawyers, that the OSP did not need or require notification from his lawyers of his arrival in the jurisdiction. The OSP acknowledged Mr. Ofori-Atta's lawyer's gracious offer to provide the OSP with information in aid of the investigation. However, this is important, the OSP insisted that Mr. Ofori-Atta's personal attendance at the OSP was required. After all, the lawyers are not under investigation. I don't need lawyers to answer questions on your behalf when you are being investigated. The OSP declined Mr. Ofori-Atta's request to be away from the jurisdiction indefinitely on medical grounds on his say-so. Consequently, the OSP directed Mr. Ofori-Atta to indicate by close of business on Monday, 10 February 2025, a reasonable date of his return to the jurisdiction and attendance at the OSP. The OSP warned Mr. Ofori-Atta that if he failed so to do, the OSP would take all necessary legal steps to secure his return to the jurisdiction and attendance at the OSP at our own choosing. Subsequently, by a communication dated 10 February 2025, that is just Monday, Mr. Ofori-Atta's lawyers transmitted to the OSP a generic letter procured by Mr. Ofori-Atta purporting to be from a doctor in a foreign jurisdiction, stating that Mr. Ofori-Atta had been seen and evaluated, and that he was undergoing further testing and management and possible surgical intervention at an indicated future time. And further, that his medical condition necessitates that he will stay and follow up on his appointments. On account of this purported medical letter, Mr. Ofori-Atta's lawyers prayed that the attendance in person of Mr. Ofori-Atta at the OSP should be fixed, taking into account the medical report from his doctors.
Planning to move? Join the 6.
All right, so that was from Ghana Web. That's a short clip of what the OSP said about Mr. Ofori-Atta being wanted. And I don't know, Mr. Gilly, are you ready?
Yes, I am. Yes.
What do you think of this?
Well, I find it rather unfortunate and bizarre. And I have my reasons for saying so. And what might these reasons be? You see, in the first instance, if the OSP is seeking to understand the nature of certain transactions, I would think that the manner of summons, as expressed in some of the letters or communications you've read, I think it would seem too much of an overreach. You see, because the OSP, as I understand it, is now seeking to, if you will, establish a case of wrongdoing or criminality. So if one is seeking to establish a basis for some prosecution, I don't think that the manner or the tone is warranted. For example, you read about the medical note received, and if what I've heard is anything to go by, the OSP, or at least the office of the OSP, wasn't satisfied with it and wanted further details. Who reveals details about their medical situation? Who reveals that? The note from the doctor should suffice. You see, but for me, you see, I consider these things political. Unfortunately, that's what I think they are. And the reason why I believe they are political is that, let me give 3 points here. I find it too much of a coincidence that, having left the role of finance minister for nearly a year, is it not puzzling that within a month of a new government being sworn in, charges are now being laid. I find it very puzzling. That's one. Now, the second reason why I believe it's political is that, you see, personally, I am of the opinion that the single most the single most significant factor that paved the way, if you will, for the return of President Mahama has to do with a certain aura or climate that they projected around the previous government. And what was that? You know, they came up with this term that they called Achim Mafia. Okay, whatever that meant to them. And President Mahama himself said that, at least on one occasion, he said that, and I recall that at one time, some well-meaning people had asked him to retract because it was demeaning to a particular group. He refused to retract. So that Achim Mafia was something that was played, was choreographed over and over and over again. So if that aura or where that was spun around Achim Mafia, if partly on the basis of that, you have come into office, if they don't do something about what they had said about the Achim Mafia over and over, Ghanaians are going to start to wise up and start asking questions.
Oh, now, so when you said it was political, you meant it was that the OSP himself is not political, but this investigation is being orchestrated by political elements.
You see, I don't know if the OSP is political or not, but what I can say is that during the presidency of Akufo-Addo, what were some of the things that were said about the office of OSP? What people had said, and not without basis, I might add, what people had said was that based on what Akufo-Addo, no, sorry, not Akufo-Addo, based on what Martin Amidu had said, that he wasn't being given the space and all of that. People then jumped to the conclusion that if the OSP or the OSP, Martin Amidu, if Martin Amidu was making such comments that he was not being given space and the president did this, president did that, if Amidu was saying that, then it means that there was some controlling. Back then, I refused to accept that the president was controlling the OSP in any way, because the legislation or the authority of the OSP makes the office completely independent. So I refuse to accept that, and I still refuse to accept it now. Now, fast forward, when Amidu left and the current guy, Kisi Obeng, became the OSP, sometime towards the end of last year, he also did a press conference. And from that press conference, some of the comments he made were to the effect that he was being, if you will, sabotaged, or maybe frustrated. Maybe frustrated might be a better characterization. He was saying he was being frustrated. So what's my point here? That both Amidu and this the substantive guy, the current guy, both gave comments to suggest that they didn't have a free range, so to speak, even though the office that they occupy has all the authority that they need to do their jobs without any interference. So that then leads me to question that if indeed it is true that that office can be held on a leash, which, as I said, I don't believe that. I find it puzzling. I find it puzzling that Ofori-Atta left the finance ministry nearly a year ago.
Mhm.
So the question is, why call him a fugitive within a month of a new government? I find that
I think
too.
if you
Yes,
listen to the OSP, he said there's been correspondence between Oforiatta's lawyers and the office of the OSP.
yes.
And
There's
so it's not all of a sudden. There've been actually been some conversation going on, I think, for a while. And then when he realized that that the former finance minister was out of the country and was trying to find out when he was going to come back, there was not a definite answer as to when he was going to come back. I
well,
think that was part of the reason
yes,
why.
yeah. But having correspondence doesn't correspondence of the nature that you have elaborated or read doesn't constitute an investigation. Those were just correspondences. That
Oh
is
yeah,
what
I mean, I was listening to their PR today. They've actually charged him. They have actually done an investigation that they started in 2022.
yes. So
So
if you have,
yeah,
yeah,
so
go ahead,
the
go ahead.
investigation has been done. They just
No,
needed him to physically
no.
come to the office to
Well,
answer.
you see, and I don't think that is that can. If that is what they are saying, that they have actually done an investigation and charged him.
Mm-hmm.
If that is so, and I would doubt that very much, you see, because you cannot have an investigation on the blind side of whoever you are investigating. You see, that at least that's my view. You cannot charge somebody on his blind side. The person must be a party, if you will, to that investigation. And in fact, a person can even refuse to
Mm-hmm.
cooperate.
Oh yeah.
It is his right. You know, like in the
Mm-hmm.
US where you are, when somebody is being charged, what do they tell the person? That you have a right to remain silent.
Mm-hmm.
A person can refuse to cooperate. You may be, they may ask you to, whatever investigation you have, you take that investigation to court. When the court summons me, I will come. It is not
Mm-hmm.
the, you see, the reality is that Ken Ofori-Atta does not even have to cooperate if he decides not to.
Mm.
So in the, and when that happens, whatever case the OSP has built, let the OSP take it to court. And when Ofori-Atta is invited, he'll go and face his accuser in court.
Right.
That is how I know. I know things to work. You see,
All
so
right, Gilly, put a
yes,
pin in that. Let me introduce our other guest. Claptizi,
Yeah, for Kwam.
Boko there.
Yehoah. Yeah, that's the same support ego. Yeah, running into a channel. You cooperate, you know. Traffic lights near this year tomorrow. You know,
Yeah,
when you're
that's it.
prepared.
I hope so by now the city of Philly, Oil,
It's an idea. You started last week, you know.
right.
Yeah, the game I come home.
Congratulations once again. Mm.
Thank you.
Claptizi, me
And I
say, oh, because of mirror, I was a more fire friend of fugitive. No,
Good evening.
I'll met you.
congrats, Philip for the wire. Hey,
That's it.
Wado, hey, that means we celebrate Wado Chromas.
Oh no, Philly, they are bad. Very, very bad. It is when
Tonight a holiday.
If they win, it's a problem. If they lose, it's a problem. Philly, dear. Oh. Nanaya, welcome. Last 2 weeks I was away. One of the weeks I was sick, and the other week I was away.
And never know you know to issue back home.
Crab me free a clinic crab and chair.
Metia cameras are my over. Means Colonel Cofa by is a challenge.
Yeah, there's a bug. wandering around causing a lot of mayhem.
Yeah. All of a sudden, this is me a week now. I'm like, what?
Exactly. Make hospital, but I'm so moving. Bokore.
Me recover, kaka.
Club, my main foundation. We are starting with a friend is saying OSP and sense no. OSP say a friend is saying Oforiata wanted. He's a fugitive of the law. Or say Omrana on any interview. Or say Omantino. Warren wanted. What do you say? What follows our story now? Oh, we're free so. And then Nana,
Okay,
that goes to you.
Yeah, I think sir, OSP officer, I'm one of the proponents of advocating for the creation of that particular office. And I continue to believe, sir, until given the current existing situations, the OSP office provides us the best or the, like I say, the better approach to be able to politicize, what do you call it, criminal cases when it affects politicians.
Right.
And internet, I like the OSP because I hated this language which when politicians try to play on our minds on the metal and try to evade political accountability. And also, given the fact that culture, we haven't built a culture where ruling governments are capable of, punishing their own appointees or putting them to the process strictly when they are in government, right? Obvious reasons that it creates political problems for that political government. Internally, it creates rifts for them, it creates tensions. You embodies our internal maturities near. Until there are so many things ruling parties don't do, even if their own appointees are involved, for not because they don't feel like that is not the right thing to do, just because of the other ramifications that come within as an politics. In that thinking, and the experience I have been very much a proponent of this OSP creation. Sir, yes, giving an independent power to somebody to be able to do that, to depoliticize that process, and then to allow for all of us to see, say, yes, now, we are all agreeing, say, who could do one in that OSP fair. You cannot come and tell me, say, which hand and that's what I'm paying, and don't pay what I say, now, I'm no person who in the mass. Who accusing one political party and go create problem, man. Because and into that I was very much in support of OSP. It doesn't matter what has happened even today, I still very much think that office, if handled properly, can't make us depart from Sanyamano and then create a forward path for us in terms of holding accountable officials and then sending signals to all others that are coming, say, hey, there's a structure like this. Your Mampehina Samtoa, a Mampehini will not, his attorney general will not necessarily be the one to handle it. No,
Right.
Cabinet, another person will handle it, and that person will Mampehini per se. And on that score, now, the cabinet say OSP Jumano, with the creation of every office, they always be teaching challenges. My background before I come and tackle SMSC, they always be teaching challenges because institutions don't build themselves one day. They go through a process, they will refine themselves, and with time they will learn, they will make mistakes, Kwame. Genuinely, they will make mistakes. Genuinely, they will be defeated. Genuinely, they will win some cases. They will not win it all. That is not the expectation. They will not win all cases because the fact that we OSP doesn't mean some miracle. Somebody will have to challenge you when you challenge them, and then how strong you build the case, the court can see who did them, who did them. Until they will win some, they will lose some. But generally, OSP must pick cases that puts it in a good light. So there, when you win and win and win, picky cases are very strong. Now to me, we Then the next time, whenever you pick every case, people who can put some trust, questionability be maybe 80% say, OSP pick us in the next BB war. You get the thing. You can build that structure for yourself as an OSP institution. If you don't want to be a useless OSP institution, say that be a time about copycat, nobody even wants to care about what you do. Then they say, well, no, you didn't build your image right. I mean, in the OSP, why there may be there been challenges, right? So I only Amidu until Kisi Ajaben, the second person in office. Or he's doing his best, he's doing this on one and the other. And ever since you're putting, we've also seen challenges on also complaining, say ruling governments, at the time, information more power. I don't know, I think sometimes the people drag their feet or whatever. Those are all challenges. It's fine. We'll go.
I think he also complained about the judicial system of the country.
Well, and then they see,
Actually frustrating.
Judicial fund here. So, no time no my OSP no lawyer about so no ko win cases. Now in the there are two who saw a good lawyer, and then who said Charlie, good lawyer. They were on levels. Until then, they will all face that judicial. There are a lot of issues there that we'll deal with later, but. And then it's not a problem faced by himself alone. Even private people and private being, everybody have their own issues with the judiciary. Inti Kwame, wa OSP na nisa ordinance wabe was like Leviathan. I think he wants to create that image of a Leviathan for himself. Inti ordinance touches so many cases.
Right.
And you cannot spread yourself thin like that because in office, I don't think so. I think I'm about the capacity. It will take time for you to gel and to understand a Ghana investigation. And this America BBA electronic easily ultimately forensic. Sometimes in community you have to have people personally come through to talk to you on the matter.
Right.
It is a challenge you now. Kind of that issue, you mean when he started looking at that, proud thing said he started looking at it maybe SML, there's some of the petition call. And some of them
started 2022.
2022, yeah. OSP, what started 2022? So we'll be until Wasem, oh yeah, Wajima. Kind of that and what is what complain over this OSP, no Wasem. Nobody has complained, nobody has said anything. It's because of the enemy, so yeah, Wajima, it's Wajima. And now we OSP. Or Mampehini. The same we say John Devance. John Dramani Mahama Crown has been a subject of investigation in that office before. Now, so I'm being a subject of that office before. When I do not know a subject,
right?
That is not the issue. But the only client, and let's not personalize it. It's not about Oforiata per se. It's about the professionalism of the practice. If you know client. Who investigated client, we now only need him come on now you are looking for him, now you want to express it, now your press conference. Don't take a position as a position of authority to abuse your clients. You don't do that professionally. That's what the right thing to do. Because your clients, too, if they also want to mount a press conference, also abuse you. It will not be the right thing either way. Do your professional work. But to mount a platform and to tell us, say, Obia want to interact, all of a sudden, or a fugitive, when Ghana, Castle be a names of Brofona Namentia, the Kroma Castle be a fugitive, I just say, hey, I can't where dear somebody, my can assembly, and I was Johnny J. What tomb good of me, Johnny. Where should the only Nipan Wahunu, one on the Casa, no other catch you say fugitive, and then Kodanchen. Second, now what's I can say, or more ready in the fee. One quiet, I can't say publicly say, one quiet simple. Then you go ahead to tell us again, say, it's stage manager. So, would you go upon him? I hope I saw what upon on your quaffle. Meanwhile, so, wow, you always be now, per se, just ask them. One my evidence be out, basis be out, and cassette. I just am papa on your quaffle, one was stage manager at the end. Baby, I'm a catcher Ghana for say this Ghana security architecture. No, as I say a lot. You say, would you believe now? Let's say, which made the body first now, and yet easy, sir, because CCTV cameras are kind. even at the police level, the military level, there are a whole lot in individual level. People have employed a lot of these tools in the house. And at the end, he said, evidence about say, Ukofono Moko Take Papano, and you Papana, the state manager there. Also, OSP, what better way in our train? I don't know if OSP come apologize, what friend fugitive. So, element, you know, and yet the call for Jumana, you know. The call for Jumana, you know, what Papanos of war, also investigate on them will be focusing on another now and delay now. My public update on Sanya Mano. The only money enka because we OSP, Assembly of Bekabian would Assembly of Bekabiano, the whole world is following you. Assembly of Bekabian Ghana for Mujidi Tower, because when himself one of the so you when you're political appointee and because a political appointee like you don't report directly to the president, to be a influencer. It's not just say this is no you should stand out as having some, high level of integrity because of your past. We want to get away from this path. Now, so Obama will play, Sen will play here. Attorney General Benja will play a good away. What can say, let's just say you are making office now, you're creating a man and say, one, why a second person want to make some creative standard. Office, you know, the standard, very admirable. Who bread office now, no, I say, Attorney General for no corner and affairs, you know. Yes, or more political appointees or more favor or politician. Or more cry looking like or more saints now. And I think that for me, because we are building a country, we are building institutions, and we have to be mindful about actors like Kisia Jabe and what they do. Because we are creating a problem for the next person who is coming into that office and the image of office now where then and I think that no problem because in some kind of fugitive, I think that it was a wrong approach. What to use, we should have avoided this unnecessary staged. So we are staging an attack on his own house. You don't have any evidence. Another very, excuse me to say, unwanted, usage of words, just speaking anyhow, just using words anyhow. I think I got very disappointed. And for me, you know, I can say, sir, if you want to be respected, as you know, na ọmọdédé mbasa tangentials we ho na yẹn nyinaa bẹ focus on the core of the ẹsọ yẹn na nípa nìkọ ọmọ nani nkọ core no so na bẹẹbi ọbẹ fọm no ọnka nkyẹn Ghana fọ sẹ nsẹm wọ ẹsọ yìí deɛ mẹka na bẹẹbi a mẹka no wa fọm that way it creates credibility back to him so wanyẹ ne saa deɛ a I'm sorry going forward no ọno an legal profession kan nkɔfo wo bu no kura no will start disrespecting him. Nti Kwame Tenoforiata like any other government official, let me tell you, any government appointee will be in government and not feel like one day they will account for their stewardship. Then the expectation when I look at them, everybody going into government public position know that one day they will be accountable for their action if the state calls on them. So it is not about Tenoforiata. Tenoforiata is not the first person government appointee. So it's not a matter of subject of investigation in Ghana, and he won't be the last either.
That's true.
If he say it is not the issue about Tenoforiata, it is the issue about following due process and respecting due process and respecting the rights of people and not taking advantage of your office to try and abuse people in the media because you are the OSP. You can mount a press conference based on your law and just say things that you cannot substantiate. And then you draw the whole public into a conversation that is unnecessary, wasting our time and energy to discuss tangentials when the core of issues now, a person will get it, you know, you can get to. And at this point, me name the into opposite who Papa physically. A person arrested Papa and son what charge, you know. I don't know what he's trying to achieve. Me the minimum. So official I the charges you know only food information now. He should just proceed to court Kwame and do the needful. And then let the man and his lawyers come and what? Respond accordingly. Because you see, I said I want to antagonize my pay or buy information you have to your better but I'm not ready. Do what you can do under law. And I also exercise my right under law and let's go. Now bye.
So you don't have an issue of him investigating Tenoforiata, and you don't have an issue of the whole press conference. Your issue is that for calling him a fugitive and also for saying he orchestrated the raid in his house.
That's my problem. Because press conference, can who say OSP no the Milan, yes, Shamrano. Can who say more periodic so public and updates
Every 6 months.
Exactly. Internal canonization or internal there is where within the law to give updates about cases or investigating the status of all such cases and all the other channel. Or already on Tom or is still within law. But like I said, no, if you are within law, stay within law properly. Don't go too much on tangential. I say you are abusing your authority to speak to us and then abuse your clients. You don't do that professionally. I don't think so. I mean, and I really didn't like that attitude from him.
No, who said one Kase it was just staged, or say it was staged, or at best was an imposter that went there.
But
Or say it's either stage or at best an imposter that did that. And he was saying this to say, and that was the reason why he did the press conference. Or say, like he's had this investigation for about 2 years and has been corresponding with Ofori-Atta and his lawyers. It has never been an issue. But for the night before Obeya press conference, for the lawyers of Ofori-Atta to call his office and find out, say, whether they had come there the night before or not. And listening to the gossip that was going around, he felt, say, they were preparing the ground to accuse him of raiding his house. That is the reason why he actually came out to do the press conference to answer him in public. That's what he said. Say, he's got that inquiry from the lawyers and he wants to answer them in public. The press conference was just to answer the inquiry that Ofori-Atta's lawyer had made to his office. That necessitated the
I look at the case now. I look at the oh yeah, he's not professional. If that was the basis, me feel say, Kwame, it wasn't the sole aim, sir. He wanted to answer them. He had something to say, but he in saying other no, they answer no then. I can't, but I don't think sir answer no point to the press conference. No.
Right. All right, Club.
Okay.
Press conference and then say certain things, but in the midst of when you took the opportunity to answer them there. Then that is a but to tell me, sir, you just wanted to come and answer them in the press conference. What kind of will be able to say I group in Audi?
I have a short video to the Club Kasari. I've been born in no Club before I got that. Now I'll be say fugitive cry. I can't say how you say it in tree, but no video kakebo.
Okay.
Gina Posse, he has an answer to that question. How we say it in tree. Inti.
As a fugitive, in our local language, fugitive in our local language, it means that what didn't work kamura. Or to put it simply, wajibab. Or in the Hausa language, otilo. Or to put it in a more simpler way, yagudu. It's as simple as that, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we should.
So, I don't know what you say. Now you know how to say it in tree and in other languages.
Go journey or catchy.
Club.
Yeah, wajibam. To me, my sister amount to be brave, say NDC and check here OSP SRT Kusi Abuabin Kusi Obeng Kusi Ajabin. Also onye NDC or MPP because you check it time almost start the investigation now. That NDC aban embargo. Okay. But in himself of a king, political scene no actually including the tactics in it or play or more hide and seek. So uchi conference no na uchi and some na you kind always be kind on or say the time now more money information so umbra office na only in no the same day and free Ghana. Free Ghana so no more say anything the letter and the doctor the letter about say on Chiapo. So how coincidental say yes Brabi and Cindiano office, but the same day Udifi. So what you say that is where I'm going to say no OSP no amuye mistake say like ko ni panifi wa ko na nyamini no kwani hono de omo anye ne yie that was not that's not professional work.
OSP nko obi afie.
But OSP so on a cool.
Also encore anyo no na ko ba of account ye nyam kra wo wiase because nipa na o hwehwe no so o the letter come on say uhia no so me yin sim bia no within couple of hours na the doctor onye Ghana ni kra de yaba say ne ho dodo no enti that men fan say medical it's odu nchen kakra unim tama na ho beto no amana ba bi yin sim bia no enti wo no to prove a point who coffee or check ya say no correct. And also obi na tena kantamanto obadi and o boss alete de brem so what I say e ju ntimi me kan chen say say bi unim ho hwe o mo ko fie ho no unim ho hwe because technically
o sho mo ko na Japano me yes say wo ye dwuma mo we and now ye dwuma no
me I tell you
Japan national security
national security nti o mo ne yi no ye dwuma bom. So what I say of I mean sorry but ofie
OSP on the enforcers sanka
yeah on the Crawford nti na me
on the Crawford
I'm trying to show why you know about say me yes say OSP best match Japan na
David
because that will not make
I'm sure say by now OSP can investigating
and obi kan okre wo how because you say why not is odi church the public because we say what by me fee we so say men small bia and when they come edi throw
okay story ne say can lawyers ne bisa OSP office say omo na omo ba ho anwumre na na and OSP say there be omo ba ho a ubehu omo because they have a
badges me yeah
and omo pin or omo atari and they will introduce themselves into anyoma. But on
I mean
Kenana either Kenana stage
what stage
already na and I say Obia young man and alcohol no one of the annual no so question I can be son and intina no press conference or so answer maybe I see
yeah I mean also to say your images nipa na omoko fie on your hu omani enti ye hwehwe omo Ghana yeah enye de ye betumi ahu the unit chrono ye bi so nipa osmo omo say omo nkofie ho so no aso no stage ye so a
it looks like Jackpa, but Jackpa has not come out to say sorry.
For now no don't mean yet me because na or think of be chop
majority leader apology no koye or the saying or the parliament. I don't know.
Parliament,
Yeah, did he mention his name? I don't know, but
one body
minority leader Neka say Jackpa.
Okay.
Plus Jack, this is the second time Jackpa has been in the news for national security stuff. Omo mokochi gold ne fake dollars. He was the one opening on the ground no be containers.
Actually, of Kwame, to me, yes, a holiday or more year because money will be a little sumasia. I think so sometimes, ɔhyɛ nipa no hyɛ wɔ bufu nti information kakra bi a ɔbɛnya biara no pɛ sɛ ɔde ba abɔnten because 2 years na sɛ ɔyɛ investigation na ɔtoo sɛ meyare ne ayi a all these years no yes yɛnim sɛ papa no ne ho nyɛ ayi deɛ but sometimes no ɔmaki room ɛba hɔ bɛn ansa nti why sɛ this time around no montumi antwɛn a mode this information ɛba abɔnten that is why I mean say aso obi mpɛ sɛ ɔbɛka nɔkorɛ wɔ baabi ọmọ bẹyẹ hide and seek for eti aburokyire na wabɛtena for medical how long na yɛ bɛtwɛn because medical report bi eni wɔ obetumi ama 3 months ana ayi o ebetumi ayɛ years me na mɛgye me ho na me si me ti yɛ me yɛ a wuntumi mfɔɔso me because at the end of the day medical me doctor say me ntumi mba emeyi nsɛm bi ano. So what else? And you they playing the tunes or the drum now more bono. And she says sometimes when you should force be our own. A ben is not 5 years but not I it is yeah force.
Mami ncho wa jumba reviso. Mimi nim o nipa OSP nipa na hwe no say bibia pebia no na wa for be ma ho ya. No mo ntero mo ma information ya pebia. Papa physical presence no minim then like open no say
offer. What's the position don't know who you know? There are certain things lawyers need to provide information. You need answers because one are now we have financing, right? And the question no movie sana a lawyer no abes a lawyer na be middleman. And she say a direct answer. It's a sign ba wo na chino respond now the beba no e you follow up wo na a delay sa and no man into bra office or the years and biano cathedral biano cathedral lawyer who could yes be budget now the year cathedral until lawyer the answer now the camp cathedral no so what there are certain things that lawyer no yes you're supposed to defend that person but at the end of the day I think say or more hiding no more be drab on saying yes meaning sorry but sometimes say too much which the lawyer can step in and say hey dear right now we are not ready to answer these questions but name miss out that's all we need.
And when you're being invited by an agency like that, your fingerprints and some of those things have to be taken. Yeah, when I say Chroma police for Afro and I say police for and I say FBI for and CIA for about no I'm say almost sure to have a conversation with you. Now I say member this I'm lawyer neighbor. They will come and arrest you.
Yeah, because you're hiding something.
They wouldn't even need a warrant. They will come and arrest you. So I get that, but to my point, to me, what actually made me uncomfortable was what Nanaya said about Sa Jakpamo, I don't know, I just don't get it. That doesn't mean says any OSPR, then doesn't mean that there's another agency. Also,
yeah.
Is that
doing
investigations? Like it's very messy.
The man here say minister Baf, who say you see an abandoned yes a shaban. And Nkofono Moko minister or the same minister Maneboama. On the minister say what order sir because no who's on order soldier for directly sir AJBA command now one soldier for so they don't work like
so almost working in internal security.
So, I'm arrangement no maybe somebody go and pay any mass to be very honest with you.
Oh yeah, it's very.
I don't think so. This is what he wanted in terms of their Nipano deal and him koyem. And I don't know what the motive of the person is. No fish or yama or man paying by one abaso, but I doubt say by now Kukwemu man paying is questioning a lot of people about.
And Jakpa has he has an axe to grind with
but
Ofori Atta. So even if it was sanctioned by some agency, Jakpa should have recused himself because it's not. It's not. And second, it's out soldier for now. Ghana for a Yamasadu Akaiho. Soldier for now, you use almost like to say police. I don't get it.
And the Yan said, young, oh, yeah, they very careful. There can always be a better approach to deal with it. Japa, who come up pay fee or pay fan so and our pay for Mukran said, the fee oh, Honoma, make a papano yari that will be any more. And who corner near money be a fan so near much in thing. Papana from where. Can you imagine how you going to explain yourself in all this? What would have happened? And how would you have putting the whole government on edge on something like this?
I don't know. Somebody else.
They are I'm paying for. They are not the problem. The people that work to try to help them achieve objective. I'm creating problems. I'm paying for.
Yeah.
They say you've put in the Minister of Defense in a very difficult place.
Now he has to come and, he has to come and explain something he probably doesn't know anything about.
When we cram the two office, maybe the office may be or setting it up. And now look at what you are putting before him.
Club, on the top on that, you're the next subject. So what do you really think?
But to Sunday American also sometimes Ubia actually the Bob right? Because the assistant government, and the office of president, Ubia says okay, you make me aye. But a young fans small, okay, so OGD or Mampany not on your good position. I can say okay, this organization no more more battle. Because within 2 years, our investigation, and rather also my to me, I think it's something wrong. Say, and no matter what, Minnesota man paying them more than I be no maybe are not. But other than that, maybe I think they need to put your ass together because and no matter what, I'm going. Yes, you need to almost person more investigation, no crying but sometimes they should do the right thing. Other than say, like after Omu show say, okay, you reach me a man, but yet issue. That's what I thought. I think.
Okay. The second thing I want us to talk about. The same day, and Rana, whilst this was going on, where Anusiana Felix Usukwati, Minister for Information. So Becca said they've started paying all the arrears of school feeding or material arrears. I think they are working on national insurance. And he was working on from the national service, almost who arrears since August into Omoka. So they were working on it to pay them. And now, Omoji, names of profile, ACT Omoka for national service. And they decided to do an audit on the names. And they found out, say, Nipa 81,000. Omoye head count, Nipa 81,000 was declared as ghost names. So, an investigation has been initiated to find out who is behind this. And me assure Pastor Munyamunim said this is not the first time, especially for national service. 81,000 people, ghost names.
Okay.
That ghost name now, I can't answer me. At the end of the day, it's to say Ghana, you try the system, say, Uber officer, not cash in hand, you try that policy, say, and then Ubi do a car. Now, Odi Nisika, or yeah, do man, what kind of Nisika to name. Meaning, say, all these national services, or more bank account. And Gina that bank account, this one, and your friend, I bet you committee, investigation. You need so uncle, now we receive whiskey there, account number now receive we and the dinner was on a say, oh, of a crime. One hour, you need to answer questions. Because you need so be anywhere or office be say or for GP pay stabra without say and go through accountant general any a bank. They have the record of it. We need I think we need some more track it down here. It's easy job to do. Say, yenko bank na bank a bia or more receive bia fa ho bia no. Nipa na ni din wo so no. Unless any nipa na wu. Wo wu on fa debt set omo abusua no fa debt set emra metre. Because that I knew a bomb mine. The beer the goat names sana or mine near a boca beer. Said you and ye obi beer na wajis as you can be beer 1 year Juma Biano. I think say and then a Pentecost Wada Roma or Moboa prisons, you know. Almost Munina and Kodaho. So what I say because a bomb mine ghost names, you know, a bomb mine papa.
You would have thought, say, all these national service personnel will have Ghana cards and kind of register their names in Ghana cards. So you're about more biometrics. But when it comes up, we are going to see the details in it. Nanaya, what do you think about this? This is
Kwame,
happened way too many times.
I'll wait for investigation because I have my doubt. Numbers normal can I was sure of
81,000.
Yeah, it doesn't make it right for me because even 81,000 Kwame, that is a systemic. That means that the system is not even working at all. Just think about 81,000. Sometimes Ghana your born numbers power. Sometimes do we really understand the numbers that we churn out?
Because the population almost was about 190 something, which is like half of it.
Which is like half. Not just that there's a system break. Into Kwame said this part. Anything I'm doubtful about the numbers. There might be one or two, almost 10,000, 15,000. Yeah, I can live with that. But to tell me, sir, I mean, an institution, about 180,000, 81,000, almost 46%. It doesn't look, something doesn't look right. Either the information for anything that as of now, I don't really trust the numbers out. I want the investigations to come up fully. And then because you're more in a preliminary, I don't know what head count. Head count, we all know, sir, it's at a point in time. If you go and the people are not there, but wouldn't even can't just say we'll call on the point in time 81,000 people to another post. There might be something wrong somewhere because
and I'm even wondering, so with the age of biometrics, now every Ghanaian has his biometrics. Can somebody create fake names with no biometrics and get into a payment system?
We must protect him. He's a national asset. Now, Otimi penetrates our systems, We need just knowledge, for national security, national intelligence, on the amateur on economic crime.
If that is true, it's not going to be one. It's not going to be one person.
If that is true, I'm protect.
It's going to be a whole network of.
Form into classroom. How do we able to penetrate the system because they will be very useful for us and broaden the security architecture of other things going forward. Into Kwame, number is too high. That makes me doubtful for me because I'm a numbers person and I relate numbers to systems. And I can if that number is what they're seeing, then that whole national service system number one, it needs to be scrapped completely. It's a complete total failure. Kwame, audit now corner full population 180. Now almost 46%. Control weakness. Things like this can happen. That's how control the mechanism is not working.
But Nana, Ghana Civil Service, I think in the 80s, either 82 or 83, after Gerald's coup d'etat, setting up the PNDC government, one of the first problems they had was similar to this. On my investigations, it happens that almost half of the civil service were partaking in the scheme. So at the end, they had to abandon because a list mistake, and the whole civil service was going to go down. And at that time, they've taken over. They needed a system. They couldn't afford to halt the system. They let it go. And me school, when the postings were coming, there were whispers around of how you can decide not to do the service and get half of your pay. if you allow them to put your name in. There's something like that there. It will not surprise me. Like you're saying, the number is way too big for me to think, say, like to take something the scale of the Rawlings' time for this to happen. Those days they didn't have that data, I always say, to kind of serve as controls to these things. But if this is,
I'm prepared to give time. I'm prepared to give it time for them to finish the investigation because
I agree with you. If this is what it is, whoever these people are, we have to look at them.
Yeah.
And if it's as bad as I think it's going to be, they have to, the whole national system, whatever national service system, have to be restructured.
Yeah, but Okokwam, also data I think 3-4 months ago, Northern Region Hall, the same by MIA can once and ha. And he data you investigation ghost names, everybody. So what I say, if you're a friend, I think I can investigation. I can you share of a crime or Bank of America in that so we see of our in so federal union or you at the end of the day, but yes, it can be a fire, it's traceable. And yes, and then you didn't notify the office to say, oh, but Johnny at no, when I go through banking system, it will be Diana, Memphis say, well, receive with us, can be. That's why Memphis is a bit more tracy because you can't say, Betty committee or moment investigation. I can't, and one I couldn't know.
Oh, yeah,
every day, dear.
Clap, finding out who did it in there very easy because there are people in charge of all these things. So those people can be questioned. But the scale of it,
it's too much.
Say, we are thinking that there might be some miscalculation somewhere. Because the scale, they put 8 to 1,000. They don't exist. Almost half of Crawford
I mean, say also of Papa, say youth, I say Obi what did you cry youth Ghana. And I mean, I have no doubt say numbers, yes.
There's any expiring date. And I said, I think at any point in time in your life, if you've not done it, you can go and do it.
Yeah, wait to anytime, yes.
Anytime, yeah. So I know what the 60 grab it to my national service is not a problem. They need it. All right, let's move quickly for that. Ora, phase 1. Ora, they can't want some. Phase 1 has ended. They almost say almost 2,000. I mean 2,000 plus complaints. They narrowed it down to about 200 and something cases, and at the end, 36 cases were the ones this oral team thought said they have enough evidence for it to be worked on right now. But they've handed everything they've done to the president, who in turn gave it on the one fan in Samsung, Attorney General and some direct. Until 36 of them Attorney General can actually start working on right now. What do you think of the whole exercise?
Kwame, sir, exercise media had cause to complain, sir. The chairman was going overboard on him, maybe, but I think, sir, he's finally realized, sir, there's a limit within which he had to operate. Because so I experienced they were not acting in a manner, no, because they know very well, sir, Kruma, Umra, and she said, maybe. I don't think, sir, concerns now me was said you were trying to go overboard. No, he went overboard because he can say Wintem, and I think, sir, largely, they limited it to information gathering, and now they submitted it on the amateur. But there's no problem with that information. We'll be able to gather information even in then without the word oral. Anybody can get up and go and give information to the Attorney General if they feel they have something going on in some public place that is a crime on the amateur. And, on that score, I think, sir, Jumano Mampeni Shamunsan or my idea. If there's another way that people trust say, make me the information come out this group, and then they can look at it and take it right to the right people that can deal with it directly without some officer in my department sabotaging me or going through some red tapes being. If this is how it's going to work, Kwame, let's give it a chance and see. If it works out, then it means that we can have innovative ways in our system where we can encourage people to bring information forward on the amateur. As that with the information will be worked on in that sense. And to me, if said on the basis of what they've done, no dear Kwame, I don't have much to say about them in terms of criticizing. At least Oman Kwachiubi, they didn't they stopped defaming people when they have no, on the same basis to do that. And once they stop at that, that's fine. Because that is what we didn't want. Because evidence now we say evidence, it's one part of your story. We haven't had the other people that you were defaming, and that was not right. I think largely they stopped and now a black one realize on that aspect, not because Jumana and say information a anchor for any hobia because the information whoever you have to give it to. But Okuja to Makachan say on campus. I think he still needs to improve on the utterances about Niamabi. He might mean well, but I think sometimes his communication doesn't bring him out, doesn't do him on one Ankasana well in terms of the way he carries certain information. And it makes me pour emotion from outside, making look say he's overly or the same exuberant, he's overly condescending in so many aspects. And I think he has to watch that aspect, Kwame, because me numbers person. It has him walk catch him to tell me, I don't know, maybe it's a slip of tongue, he can come and correct. But to tell me, that process to uncover $21 billion. None of your
and that's just the 36 cases.
It doesn't make sense to me. Do you know what $21 billion is?
That's a lot.
Ghana for they just talk and they mention numbers.
That's 1/6 of Ghana's GDP.
And it's the one who's there. So Okasa will be at the near fear about brother and Otiwa, he will not respect you. Meanwhile, maybe you there's something genuine out there you want to communicate to us. And you have to be mindful. One person put the Tokran, then I want to say $21 billion. I probably think it was a slip of tongue. He was probably trying to say $2.1 billion. Then that is acceptable. Okay, $2.1 billion. I can accept that could make sense to me, right?
And 21 billion cedis.
Yes, but $21 billion, I'm like, are you kidding me? Do you know what that is? $21 billion. And they said Ghana, you did.
Oh, yeah, that's a set of GDP.
Yeah, into me, feel say, uncheck this aspect because sometimes it taints your good intentions and it taints, the good Niemana old person. And it's
we should have asked for a breakdown of that.
Yeah, and one come the name said he said it in front of Omampain at where's Anna you not well obviously who mistake now correct and can't now you let it fly. When people are watching her, and my Omampain no yamna or the tad Kwame, you make it ridiculous on your right. And you don't need to do that to Omampain. And then when you are reporting to Omampain, you must cross your dot, cross your T's, and make sure Kwame, you are well prepared. So Kwame, you're on point. Somebody can take you on, and they can be like, they will have no fault. They'll be like, yes, you've given them something. But Sandy might be fresh from one. Now, if you be sure, now I'm an IBB or Honum, Kwame. Intimate, Mestre say, so 21 billion. By any stretch of imagination, Kwame, maybe you that document or the one, I have not seen it. There may once for President people team Shaman. But I can say with the force of numbers and understanding of what it means to have $21 billion, say that number cannot be correct.
Right. But I think they only work for a month, right?
Yes. Yeah.
And they were able to accumulate over 2,000 cases. Doesn't it say something about our investigative agencies? Like, why are people like it says something about the trust we have about Yoko and police, and because people had all these things and nobody thought it wise said or they come out until we had Aura. I feel it'll be actually say, you know what, they can trust Aura with these tip-offs.
Kwame, a timing and the season now, Omoya Sadian. You must take and that the environment and the timing in the season. If they did this same exercise when maybe this government is 4-year-old into the term, I can assure you probably not that many people go forward and give information. But time
Right.
no the goodwill, the expectation, on what has happened in the past and people. So it's like a fertile window to collect that kind of information. It feels like
And also come on.
or like if they repeat the same exercise 4 years after they've been in government, I can tell you so the propensity and the edge now for the common information, it will not be there like that.
Club.
To me, I think say because say new government, right? I say new government and I say new policy be about one thing and be a person trend above right? Because we know it be a new yes a old government now watching about back there, but it be a right now no mindset now or the battle. It is a new information that the carbon thing. I think say nimi or be a solution. So that is when I think say they were able to within a month. Now omutimi enya this information the Bible thing. I think that right now no solution a free government we no and never say amount for the more information the ban as one bam. Right? Because and then me my mouth tip off no one to me and find yes now I need there. Then the next 3 years I can there information be anyone me the beba because at the end of the day no the heading. What is the end solution? So what I say, I think say because a new government, and ultimately they were able to achieve this information here, Say any election time, and I say about we were almost 2.5 years that I don't think same way no. On which this information because we are big because which mean punish will be the next goal here information what is the next thing? So what I
Right.
say.
It is a trust no more.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe.
Okay. I don't know whether we have the time for the last one. Naka, and I quick. AG, all the pending cases are like the Opuni and the Deputy Governor of Bank of Ghana, Sagleme and others. Wako Court, Agriculture Court said he doesn't want to pursue those cases again or filing nolli prosequi. It has started a debate. I'm out for say now he says still or train pursue the case for the courts, say the better courts in Bibua cases, They must also say, you know what, cases, I check our court, or if we had enough evidence to actually successfully win those cases, I would have done it already. And see, there's no time and money to waste. You're interested. What do you say, Nanaya?
Kwame, it was very unfortunate. I don't like approach now. Attorney General, you see, I didn't like it because Emma was the down in catch I say, Kuna Chitreno. Say yes, I never wear Kwame. It doesn't make me get confidence in it. Already, then I told you that I want to be surprised, right? So that was a catch I said,
right.
The short systems never want if you have your constitution and Sunday maybe now your teams and your team we are Kwame. I don't expect anything new on the amateur, but I want to be surprised because me to me can say that's not the be we go for us into me. That's not my approach. I'm hopeful, but who data, so I'm also very mindful about data and historical antecedent and facts and trends. Because I also believe in Sanya, man. And Attorney General, the NTR, not because Kwame, he could have achieved the same outcome by allowing the process to exhaust its term, right? If he said, and would have been a better path for our future in terms of sending signal out there to OBBR say, Kwame, as I'm told, you get this court, you go through the floor onto court, no why then.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what party you belong to. Okona court no say what so now woko baby. And no cry a better man one kasa onipa no wonya omu or the sign ahoden. Ama nkofo timu say papa we somebody no ko gina court class on then. Only for it. As if you we ni say beti aba say ampa nkofo na nkomo case o. Ankomo go through court process now. They will still win on cases. But you see now who attorney general why ni say no. Wama they cannot claim sir and what they need to say we had the case. Now, in the minds of reasonable or bystanders, it is making it appear, say, one are all more political favor.
But Oka say the cases, first of all, many evidence Papa Bia, and there has been no new evidence made known to him. And some of the cases crown on one kasa with the I think he was lawyer, and I said ne firm no were the lawyers of the people that were being charged. What the case in the I think in the case of was it Opuni, the High Court had actually he has won the case in the High Court, and on the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court as the way of more Casano, as if said, or more evidence and sign yet Papa Biasa. And on any new evidence. So why waste money and time on the cases into our droning because
Kwame, you shouldn't worry about money because you should worry about the future that we are trying to create for our country.
Right.
Because money doesn't mean anything to anybody if we cannot.
He not actually said money. He said resources. I
get it. I get it. Into resources, Kwame, I know. Say yes, he has to. He doesn't have all the resources he needs. He has to manage resources. Makes sense. But Kwame, you must also look at the long-term benefit for our country. We have to sometimes sacrifice a bit of our resources, trade off some of it, to be able to build a better image or system that engender confidence and trust in the political systems. Building our confidence and trust in the system, it doesn't come at zero cost. It will have to cost us something. But eventually it creates a path that creates confidence for all of us and send signals to everybody out there. Say, you go through the mail, and then we go through the mail, you come. Now, actually, I'm paying using the presidential powers now. That's a different animal altogether. At least we know so you went through the mail. Now, we will go this album and say, hey, Charlie, me dear, don't be family anymore. Until you are family, maybe in a court, I come as a so, I want to be a more political connection. I'm paying you the partner, mammy, I'm fine. One family, so they are not the Musa. That fear, no factor has to be in all of us. So
what do you think about people who are saying, say, these cases were, first of all, politically motivated? It was unfair on these people to be in the court. To say Opuni he lost his job and has to go to court 3 times a week for 8 years. That's still it is at a dead end. Wako High Court but still, if it was motivated politically in the first place, if a political favor gets him out of it, is it not the same?
Kwame, yes, political favor, assuming even if it was political motivated, the thing was that, and yes, our Attorney General will now do something about it. Internet just says, that should even give fresh perspective. Say, you are not coming in to be politically motivated, if that is what you claim it is. Therefore, allow the process to exhaust. And let the people have their fair day in court.
Or he has to find new evidence and take them to court. Only evidence be.
Kwame, until I make us say, until who names an attorney general, so who knows information. Until Oban and Kawan Kofi one acquitted Mona, who call court with some information. So when eventually the people will get acquitted.
Set null prosecutor, and you have to go to court and say, as a prosecutor, you don't have enough evidence to prosecute this case. So,
Kwame,
you've given up on the cases.
Yes, and but some of our putting in more canon. Now, me, I say, process no use unit yourself. Even if in the future another person want to take on this case, they cannot take on this case again.
The one, no, I think the only prosecutor, people can actually take up the case again, because what you're saying is as a prosecutor, you don't have enough evidence to continue with the case into a judge.
But based on the lawyers, they can go for canon. I said almost double jeopardy. Assemble, we can't try twice because depending on method could be used, one will come and fall in the category of double jeopardy where you cannot take the case up again. While Attorney General, when you sue our route now, because my judge case, so that say evidence be banner me fish and mess up my trial and they should have left it that way.
Oh, okay.
So what we say that that way people will give you still the benefit. But some why I need it. I just walk chat this our window, no cry, and now if you have to.
No. I'm out for kind of say if we actually had very good evidence, it wouldn't have taken us 8 years and still not finished the case.
Kwame, time factor in or the same criminal matters, and a criminal matters, standards, they are what political platform or the propaganda canon. When you're in court, the standards are really, 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 really high.
Yeah.
And you have to really prove beyond reasonable
doubt.
So
the more reason, because Opuni case, you say, if you have followed the case, I followed the Opuni case. There is no way we're going to win the Opuni case without reasonable doubt.
And let Opunu go to court and embarrass Sanko for prepare charges.
He's already been to court and won. High court, flat.
Kwame, say he's already won, doesn't mean that the process has ended. So he's still there.
It hasn't, yeah. Now he's in the Supreme Court.
Exactly. Until let him exhaust animal not Sanko because Kwame, and no Sano so a man nipa no prepare charges and no munim say communication. Almost the same who ego no more Minister of Justice of Department, whatever I or more prepare cases, You're also teaching them something. Say, hey, and these are all case studies. I bet the whole to share so we a prosecutor that they be out your record. So you're banning and somehow the court maybe ever come court and say, oh, massa, or somehow the buy Yamutu, maybe I am to. One and that's a prosecutor on.
But Nana, is it fair on the victims, so-called victims?
If it is not, I don't know what it's fair on the victims.
Because opening case, you see, 3 times a week for 8 years, every day or court.
Kwame, 3 times a week, who determines that? Because no 3 times a week. We also might have rights to file other processes to challenge other things in different courts. I don't know who 3 times a week favors, whether it is only for the prosecutor only, or it also favors the partner or a defendant to also file processes to challenge this or protect his rights in many different courts. I don't know what that 3 times a week means and who it favors, who it doesn't favor in this case. But regardless, Emunsuno is telling us, why is it that cases take long? Is it the witnesses don't come? Is it that people are not prepared to testify? What really makes these cases last that longer? And this is a criminal matter. There's no time limit to it anyway. But Kwame, you expect within 8 years there, if indeed you have your witnesses and people are coming up and you should substantially have break somewhere with the case on the child. And on amendment and only the court matters and how they play their gymnastics in court and so on and so forth. And like I was saying, if 8 years now you know then I could have used the 1 year to let the case exhaust and then let the case die. After all, you've been there for 8 years. Into another 1 year or just case that case whom are you going to blame? Don't even blame you.
But also, I'm gonna say, justice delayed is justice denied.
Well,
Nakota for 8 years. You know, if we had very serious evidence against him and could have proven beyond reasonable doubt that, I think say 8 years is way too long.
Kwame, Omampehini or the say Trump, he's in the court for how many years? 4 or 5 years. Or no point Omampehini. How if you can the case be split no. But court matters there. And listen, or because say litigation should be your last option. Because litigation costs a lot of time, energy, resources, and it drains. And you know, many I don't want to use the time factor to scare us. As far as the office was minded, say, I mean, they still have the case and they're going to pursue it. The only thing away a minister of attorney, I mean, the minister of justice, you have to make sure that you do the right thing on behalf of the state. That's all. Kwame, but make us now ask now some of the media. I didn't like the approach. It doesn't mean that he was wrong in law, Kwame.
Right. It's legal, but
yes, being
done another
exactly. And maybe blasting the power, and later we also have a press conference giving us reasons. And also in law, right, he didn't have to give us reasons.
Oh, yeah.
He came, I mean, as a person as he is, a doctor, a lawyer, a lecturer, he's trying to put best practices out there for the student, which for me was, like I say, welcoming. Even though I disagree with him, I can respect the lawyer, you know. Say now he's come up to try to explain. I might not agree with the reasons, you know, or I might disagree with it. But Kwame, the mere fact said he wasn't obligated under law, he's not obliged to come and explain anything to me or to the public. No timber Kwame, I think that he further pushed the practice of law outside just the mere fact of legality on the amateur and brought it to the common sense level for all of us to be able to follow him. We can disagree, we can agree, but that move, Kwame, if he says commendable, even though I still disagree with him about the way he went about it. But I can live with it and move on because on my I just don't want it to be the impression, say, Kwame, Sisia no normal banner, or no be charge opponent, political or the previous government. That's so power, that's so case now. Another government more drop cases. That's the precedent I don't want.
Right.
And then the main problem because I don't mind Kwame. We are not creating the standards or the space or room for confidence building in the holding political exposed people accountable.
It's setting a bad precedent. Yeah.
And you know, it's not because that's all I'm trying to think. So I'm going to build the future of our country. So we don't run into these gray areas where people take advantage. They also come and say, "Oh,
I think these cases, they were bad examples." But I think the sheer number of it in Kofobi Brown, and also hard me. If we were just 1 or 2 be there, but to do about 4 or 5 people, that's the problem. Club TZ.
I think it's about the my network and until the money.
Kwame, where you have to say a time in it, you know. Kwame, Matisse say, who said because of no man the explanation in the reason, I think he put in the predecessor. No, Matisse, the predecessor is holding a press conference. Is it tomorrow? Tomorrow is Friday, right? Tomorrow to respond to some of these things.
Yeah, because he actually made some accusations.
And I think it's healthy for me. For me, I'm I like it because
yeah,
no, you may say be who intention and what yes and if Bonnie do on my eventually no will postpone on respond you be who they are not sabi or they are doing
exactly. I say who adrian omunyina a tile much
exactly.
So I mean we can keep an eye on that.
All right.
And wait there. Charlie, we are about 27 minutes past our time. With that, sorry, the last 2 weeks. We were not feeling very well. I may do my next Thursday. You're saying shape you. Internet, you'll be asked.